tick one of them to be where the origin of your counseling session has come. So the student code, we know in counseling we don't write names. We don't actually say so and so was here. It is you have your specific code that you use to identify a given student. Uh, if she or he brought herself or himself, then you can put himself. If there is a friend in the school, if there is a prefect or a peer counselor, if it is from the administrator or teacher or HOD, or if there is a family member who have referred the student to you, you can tick there. Then we have the background, the previous counseling details, if there is any. You can also record here that previously, before, if you probably it was referred to you, the student may have had other counseling sessions with another person, so you can indicate. Probably you could probe questions like, have you had this problem? Have you talked to anyone? What came out of your discussion with the previous person, so that you have at least a background of what has happened. And if there isn't, you also just say there isn't any previous counseling session based on that particular issue that you are handling. Then you can write the name of the counselor, your name here, and then now need. So defining the need, you talk about the description of what led the client to seek the counseling services and the effects of the current situation. So just like we were doing the counseling, what because there must be something that made them get interested to get counseling services. So what is this? What is this? What led the client to seek the counseling services? You can indicate there, and probably what have been the effect. For instance, you are having a family problem. That could be the reason why the counselee is coming or the client is coming. So, what has this situation brought to you? So you also observe from them what they think is the reason why the counseling session will be important, so that from the onset they also relate to what you intend to have as a discussion. So that is the second the section on the need, and then try to find out, because this one will even ease your work in counseling. Try to ask, what is your expectation? They could even make it easier for you when you are carrying out a counseling session to know what they expect. For example, if it has a problem to do with the family, some of them may tell you, I don't have any expectations, or they may not know what they really expect. But if there is any expectation, you need to write here. Probably they expect that they have a way of concentrating on their studies and overcome the challenges that are at home. That could be a case, for instance. So that is the expectation. What do they really want? And then you can have some ideas about the origin of the issue. Now, this is now the great discussion. We discuss about what could have led to the issue being there, just like the counseling we had yesterday. Ideas about the origin of the issue and how the counselee have been coping with the current situation. If there has been any support, what kind of support, and how has that support influenced the living of that particular counselee. Then after that, you now guide her to making, or him to making what? A resolution. So what is it? What is the appropriate ways the counselee can overcome the problem? Agreed arrangement towards resolving the issue. So you can now record what you have agreed, so that when you are making follow-up, you may ask, okay, we agreed that you should do this and this from the records. What so far have you done? In case they come back for another counseling session, you can make up a follow-up based on what you recorded in this. And if there is any referral, then you can now discuss with the counselee at the end of this form, do any recommendation or referral services or date for next session or a follow-up. follow-up meeting. You can do that. I believe this can sort out our recording of the counseling sessions that we have in our schools. Probably input you may have. It has been so fast. No, the form will be there. It will be sent on your WhatsApp.
Okay.
In PDF format. Yeah. And if you have any way you can customize it, the better, right? You can get this and then probably customize according to your time. Some of us may not have so much time even to fill the whole of this. So you just pick up the areas that you feel like can help you in. But it is very important that we have records of our counseling sessions. Do not do counseling and then fail to have these records. Thank you for that. You will also thank me. Okay, so there is our session on family. As you see, the bulk of the issues that we handle at school somehow have their basis at home. So you'll find most of the things that we are handling have some origin on how our students interact while back at home. We know we are also parents. If you started blaming parents, you are also included in that category. So we keep on saying that parents should take up their responsibility. So, when you are saying parents, there is another teacher who teaches your student is also saying the same, remember. Sawa sawa. Hata naye anasema mzazi wa nani na nani. Kwanza tunapenda kuambia wanafunzi, hata kama si rafiki yako, hiyo siku anakuwa rafiki yako. Baba yako ni rafiki yangu, si ni mwalimu? So as much as we want parents to take responsibility, we are also parents. And what I usually look, the perspective I have about this is whatever is happening to a student who comes to school, or probably whom I interact with the first time in school, could be the same thing that happens to the children that I have in my house. The challenges will be similar. The challenges will be similar in a way that whatever they are passing through, whatever they're experiencing, whatever they are doing, will also be happening in my house. So that is why I get so much motivated in finding out whether I'm finding out in the students or in the children. Whatever I get from that end, I'm very keen also to find out whether the same could be in my children. Whatever I find in my children, I'm also keen to find out whether the same could be happening to other people's children who are now under my care when they are in school. So that is how easy now it becomes to learn about our students. So we want to look at family-instigated psychological issues among learners. But before that, I'd like us to write. I'll give it per table. This looks like, is it this one or this one? The high table. The high table. Is it this one? Can you pass? You can do. Difficult during our counseling. Another issue is relationship between a student and a teacher. That's another issue quite difficult to deal with as a counselor. Another issue is demonic possession. Demonic possession. I find it so difficult also to deal with. Another issue coming out is masturbation. Masturbation. Another issue is divorce and separation. Divorce and separation. Another issue here is ignorance. Ignorance. I hope someone is recording it down. I may not remember all of them. This one is witchcraft. Witchcraft. A form to girl at some sexual advances from the stepfather, who is the breadwinner and also pays the school fees and financial support the girl in the school. The girl will be seeking support or help from the counselor. So in cases where probably a member of the family, could be a stepfather, an uncle, or someone who makes sexual advances to students, and in that case sometimes, like it has been put, they are the breadwinners or the sole providers of the family. Same here, we have broken families. That also refers to the issue of divorce and separation, right? Then another one is rape by a family member. Rape by a family member. Dealing with a girl whose mom was murdered by her dad and her brother, who have not yet been apprehended. Dealing with a girl whose mom was murdered by her dad and her brother, and these two have not yet been apprehended. Parents who are not willing to allow a teacher, that is guidance and counseling teacher, to handle their child's problem because that will involve exposing family issues or problems to the teacher or the school. And an orphan whose basic needs are totally neglected by their guardians, they have nowhere to run to. These are 12 tables, and we are assuming there are only 12 students out of the thousands that we have in the school. And yet, from what we have just read, I can feel the mood in the room already changing. So it's like we have only dealt with 12 students with this kind of issues, or these are 12 issues that have been brought to the guidance and counseling department. Alafu DOS anataka marks za kati. Deadline lini? Jana. Kwanza unaambiwa wewe sijui uliajiriwa vipi. Una content, eh? Now, actually, these are issues that are very common in our schools. We may not be able to tackle all of them, but there are issues that we handle in schools. Now, in your opinion, where do these issues come?
Most of them from home.
Where do
All
these
of them.
issues come?
Okay, school.
Some from home, some from school. And the society.
School.
So we are attributing these challenges to the society, to the school, to the from home, social media, right? My question would be, now, who is this society? Who is this family? Who is this school? Who is this teacher? Thank you. Between the communication between the GNC, school, and caregivers or referral facilities, and also how ways of working with parents and guardians. So, family plays a big role in the lives of learners, both at home and school. Family composition, belief systems in that family, values and economic status are some of the aspects that significantly affect the knowledge, attitude, and behavior of learners in schools. Challenges emanating from the family can cause stress on the learner's emotion and contribute to their loss of focus. So if we have these challenges, in most cases you find that there is a student who actually physically is in school, but mentally is away. Some of the common family issues, we have mentioned them: divorce and single parenthood, grief, poverty, illiteracy, SGBV, and negative culture. You'll allow me, because of time, probably to just focus on the first two, divorce and grief. And that can help us get some guidelines on how to address some of these other issues that come from our families. Divorce and single parenthood. Studies show that high school dropout rates are twice as high with children from broken families than those with parents still together. Learners with divorced parents have lower performance compared to those whose parents are still married. That's according to the studies that have been carried out. So, about divorce, news of divorce can be a shock and disturbing to children, and some may not be able to handle the changes that occur. When parents separate, some of these students or learners may not cope up or may not handle the changes that occur. Because there is always some way you find a learner or a child inclining towards a certain parent. Probably who in daddy, who in mommy. And when you are daddy, and now it is forcing her or him to stay with mommy, it becomes a big problem. So this will also depend on how parents communicate with their children and each other. So that is now what we also need to put into focus about divorce. That what will mostly affect the students is not only their separation, but now the communication between the parents and parents-student. Because most of us are aggrieved. When the parents separate, they are aggrieved. The mother says that she was right. The father says that he was right. The mother wants the daughter to know that it was the father who was wrong. The father wants the daughter to know that it was the mother was actually wrong. We unaanguka mtihani, unakaa tu kama mama yako. Nilisema hii maneno. Most learners may feel the need to fix their parents' relationship and may turn out to be their priority over education. Now, this is where the big issue comes. Their desire in this situation is that they find a way of fixing the issues that are between the parents. They have the desire. They really want that they be the ones to fix that relationship, to fix that family, and bring it back together. Because I believe it is the joy of children to have their parents together and happy. And all of us, isn't it? The pressure to take sides, hear negative comments about the other parent can create psychological problems. Just like I mentioned, that when you're talking, probably a parent has divorced, parents have divorced, and now you go to school, sometimes they just want to know whether there is something cooking or not. Bahati mbaya kuulize dadi anaendeleaje? Ile jibu atapata hata lita erase all the good talks that they had. So that exchange or probably negative comments about the other parent may also influence the psychological nature of this learner. Single parenting may load an economic hardship or lack of support and resources. We know in our economic times, these hard economic times, sometimes it becomes a burden when only one parent has to take up the burden. And in most cases, it is the mothers.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, kuna gentleman amefanya.
The boy.
But when divorce happens, in most cases you find, in most families, you find that the mother is the one to fend for their children, to take care of their school fees, to take care of their needs, and sometimes it becomes overwhelming, and therefore it becomes a difficult situation because as you struggle, and sometimes you are even tempted to use that as a motivating factor to your child. Unaona venye nasumbuka, si ndio? Unaona venye natafuta. Babako alitukataa, si ndio? Unaona kabisa.
Nasumbuka. Babako alitukataa jamani.
Nataka utie bidii sana. Nataka utie bidii. Asif unamwambia kutia bidii, bwana yake hata mkataa in future, si ndio? So no, this is what we say. Learners who may not have clear information or acceptance about the family status or single parenthood, those who may not have clear information about it, they have doubts. Wewe anytime mtoto akikuuliza baba yako ni nani, anakuambia wewe. Or sometimes hata kina baba ukiulizwa mama yangu ni nani, namwambia wewe. Stop it there. Kama kuna kitu nataka ukome ni hapo. Don't ask me anything beyond that particular place. So learners who may not have clear information or may not accept about acceptance about the family are likely to be distressed, especially when matters family are discussed. Sasa unapata mtu tu ndio huyo tu kimwalimu kiasiari kimeingia hapo. Sasa leo we want to talk about divorce, Innocently, yes, yana cover syllabus, Anaanza kuongea, causes of divorce. Papa. Alafu mtoto anachunguza ile familia yake anaona. Hapa so it causes a lot of distress, especially when the child or the learner has not accepted the state of that family. So it means that therefore that the parents really need to make the student or the learner or our children really understand the situation and accept it. Try as much as possible to let them accept the way it is, so that it is not a point to think about when other people are discussing about their family. There are sometimes unapata mtoto ako shuleni visiting, watu wamekaa baba mama mtoto, baba mama mtoto, baba mama mtoto, baba mama mtoto, ama iwe tu ni baba mtoto ama mama mtoto, lakini yeye mahali amekaa, they will not even focus on those who are one parent and child. She is focused on hawa wenye wamekuja wawili. They are more focused on how father and mother came. Supposing my father and mother were together, I wish it could be this way. You get it? So if they cannot accept, then it becomes a very big problem. Sometimes watoto tu wanajoke about their parents and sometimes kuna wale wanakuwa warui sana. If they actually know that this is what will make you disturbed. Kuna watoto wenye wanakuanga chiki sana. Wakijua wakiongea about divorce unakasirika. That is where they always go when you are not in good terms. Anakuja tu hata na kawimbo anaanza kusema hey, wazazi kuachana si mchezo. You know, there's a way students know how to instigate some nonsense. Walimu wa languages waulize, but if there is anything between you and them, waambie wakutungie sentence kutumia a certain one. You can read from that statement what they mean if you are very keen. But don't do that. Watoto wakiwa class wanasoma, achana na mambo mengine. Hata wakitumia jina lako as an example. So, signs that some students or some learners may be affected by single divorce or single parenthood is anxiety, sometimes depression, sometimes speech defects, sometimes stress, sometimes low academic performance, sometimes withdrawal from social activities, like they don't want to mingle a lot. We may have some who are very aggressive, sometimes emotional dysregulation, like inappropriate crying, temper tantrums, or twins. Unapata mtoto because they feel like they want to fix this issue. Wanataka most of the time wako nyumbani. Na mtoto akitaka kuwa nyumbani, if they are not guided well, they will just go. Mtoto kufai kugonjwa ukae ugonjwa si ngumu. Ama tu kudisturb tu. So they don't think, like I said, the adolescents don't think about the consequences. They are dealing with the issue that is at hand. Well, wao hata kama wanajua to solve their issue is killing, wao wataua tu, because they are not even concerned about the consequence. They don't take a second thought to think about what comes after their action. So to them, wanataka hata wende nyumbani, hata kama ni discipline case, lakini a way to take them home. Don't we have instances mali wanafunzi wanatumwa nyumbani fees? Kuna kimutu kililipiwa fees hadi ya form 4. Lakini yeye ndio wa kwanza kufika kwa gate. Right?
Yeah.
So they want to be there because there is something they feel that is amiss. They really want to see what can happen. Because if they seek permission, utauliza unaenda kufanya nini? Tunaenda kuwarudisha babangu na mamangu pamoja. That will not happen. So some of the approaches that we can take as GLC department is develop an understanding of children's reactions to their parents and divorce by reflecting on their observation and conversations with the children or with the parents. So we develop a proper understanding of the children's reaction to the divorce by reflecting on the observation and conversation with the parents observation and conversations with the children. Create a safe, friendly environment where children can feel free to talk. Because when they talk to you, sometimes they come and tell you, actually, this is what is happening. I don't like, I'm not concentrating because there is this happening. Have flexible expectations with the child's schoolwork. Some of these things really disturb the psychological nature of the students. Na wewe umekaa hapo, target ni A minus. A minus. Amekaa na nana class, but you are seeing the indiscipline in that child. No, you don't see that there could be something behind that sleeping in class or being truant or being in any case indiscipline. So you need to have a flexible expectation. When you identify a certain behavior in students, you don't press them towards what you actually want them to do. Have flexibility and adjust in a way that will give them room to explain or also share what they pass through in their life. Providing encouragement for the learners to make good decisions and to manage their own behavior. As much as they may be passing through this, it is important that they also learn how to manage their behavior. So whatever they see, whatever they feel, their feeling should be separated from their behavior. So whatever you feel, it's good sometimes to feel the way you feel, but it is not always good to behave the way you behave. So, the second issue I said is grief, and we talked a lot about grief. Grief is a reaction people experience in response to loss or death. Death that are sudden, violent, and unexpected can be the most difficult for learners to come to terms with. And signs that you may see among learners is difficulty in concentrating. We may have mood swings, fatigue or poor sleep, increased need for attention, changes in relationship, including withdrawing from friends. That could be a sign that they are actually undergoing grief. So, as a GNC teacher, you need to acknowledge their loss and the need to take time to grieve. When sometimes they cry, like we say, they cry about it, sometimes they feel so much traumatized, you need to give them some time. That is why some of the schools will even give them some time to stay before they resume they come back to school. Encourage them to take time while paying particular attention to taking care of themselves, because sometimes wengine wanajiachilia tu, even their hygiene becomes so bad because they don't even care. Help them to reflect and find meaning in the loss. If their grief is having a long-term impact, their mental health over a sustained period of time, consider recommending a visit to a psychologist, because you are not particularly the very best person to deal with some issues. Let's be flexible enough also to refer. Usikufe na issue imekushinda, unajaribu kuwa, niliwaambia in counseling hakuna target na hakuna TPD, ndio? Hakuna nini. Sawa. So you can always do a referral. I thought on focusing on the two will help us, and probably I'll share this, will help us also explore other issues that we have mentioned, that we have also written down, that we find so difficult to deal with. I believe that will be important, and we know that all these issues are happening in our schools, but we are there. We are equal to the task, and I believe to the extent to which we will do is to the best interest of the child, and I believe they will get some help. Now, it has been so rampant, and there is a talk about LGBTQ issues. We cannot exhaust that when we discuss. But the truth of the matter is that so many learners have the intuition that this LGBTQ thing is so lucrative. I want to tell you from my interaction with so many of them, so many of the students, is that most of them do not even understand what it is. But the moment they hear about a certain concept, they want to explore and find out what it is. Some of these students end up being victims of circumstances. Some of them act as if they know what they are doing. So when you are dealing with these issues, you really need to be very careful, because to some extent, it also may end up affecting your career as a teacher. Be careful in dealing with these issues. Very careful. Because people are out there, people are willing to give money, people are willing to support them, to pin you down. Uambie ni kwa nini unasema mtoto wake ni gay and you don't have evidence. So as you deal with it, be very careful so that it does not backfire on you. Number two, it is like we have heard about it. It's like a cult. It's something that erodes the mind completely. And they feel this, the learners who engage in lesbianism or gayism or bisexuality, you find them, yani it's like their mind is somewhere. They are just not normal. It is difficult for them to be convinced unless in a gradual guidance and counseling that they'll be able to come out of it. So be patient with them, go step by step, and let us try as much as possible to help our learners. Let us try as much as possible to help them, because it is becoming a tall order. It is becoming a very sensitive issue in our schools. Talk to them, and as a group, I believe it is the starting point of our interaction. Let us always share, let us always discuss, and I believe we shall have support for one another in dealing with some of these sensitive issues. So, that point, thank you very much.
Also to talk about guidance and counseling, that's what I'm calling GC, as a tool for academic excellence. I want to start with a disclaimer. This is not a lecture coming in a class. It is meant to provoke thoughts and we talk. Two, I don't know everything. In fact, what I'm going to present is not that I'm a master in that area. I'm only sharing what you would also share, and therefore you can participate by correcting me or by adding or by even subtracting on what I'll have said. So what I'm going to say here is not necessarily biblical truth. It's just to provoke our thoughts and discussion. I'm not sure we are seeing this. David?
Yes.
Let me just say, how can we enlarge this? Unajua, huyu ni kijana wangu, na student here is very active. Okay, is that better? It's too small. Okay, so what is the way forward? Fanyeje? I'll read. Yes, and then I'll send to you to your email. But wacha vijana wamejaliwa kuliko sisi. By the way, walimu msifikiri mnajua, hao ndio wanajua. Even my daughter huwa ananiambia daddy haifanyi hivyo. Wewe unafanya vibaya, you know. You can imagine an old man like this. My daughter ananiambia daddy haifanyi hivyo, wewe hujui. Wala wananidanga old school. Old school hata amjui kitu, you know. So even as they do it, let me explain a few things about academic performance and guidance and counseling. I've concentrated on two majorly, and the third item: discipline, career counseling, and values, moral values. as tools that can be used to achieve academic excellence in schools. So you ask yourself, as a guidance and counseling teacher, how do these items work for or against your objective? As a guidance and counseling teacher, does discipline take priority in your work?
Very much.
Are you in any way involved in promotion of discipline? And what is discipline? I've always thought of two to three groups of people who, to me, are good examples of people who are disciplined. The first one is what we call the discipline forces. Discipline forces is none.
Kina army na polisi.
The army, the police, in Kenya, hata wale
Kanjo.
Kanjo, si kama Kanjo wana discipline. NYS. Then how our discipline.
Yeah.
So I take that as a good example of discipline. The other group that I take as people who are disciplined are
The teachers.
those people who are teachers. I don't know. I'm a teacher by the way, but I don't know that. Amongst you, there are sports teachers. I take coaches and their trainees as people who are disciplined. Kiangalia watu wa michezo. Kama si discipline, they can't, as a coach, you must instill some discipline for them to achieve the objectives. I take them as amongst the group that is exemplary in discipline. The other one are the religious people, particularly the monks and the relatives. Unajua monks? And I normally take one church, and I'm not bad, the Catholic Church, as amongst the groups that show some form of discipline, because wana run issues zao kama jeshi. Mkubwa ni mkubwa na mdogo ni mdogo. In the Catholic Church, and I'm sorry if I'm biased, the Pope is always right in as far as he's performing his pastoral duties. If you are a bishop, you can't correct him. The bishop is always right. Kama wewe ni father, even though the bishop is wrong, kama ana perform duties zake za bishop, huwezi kumcorrect. Sawa na jeshi. Major ni major, corporal ni corporal. Si ndio?
Yeah.
Kama wewe ni constable na you are very right, unaanza kwenda kumcorrect inspector. So I take those ones as examples of discipline or discipline formations. Now in our schools, as guidance and counseling teachers, do we have influence in the discipline of students that we take care of? Do we? And how? In most schools, we as guidance and counseling teachers also are involved in corporal punishment. True or false?
True.
In psychology, that's a contradiction.
Yeah.
It is a contradiction. Ile meza umemwitia ukamchapa, basi tunamwambia mjo ana shida gani? The impact of that environment even remains. Okay? So as guidance and counseling teachers, we have to play a role of enforcing discipline through the school system rather than through direct corporal punishment. And in Kenya, anyway, I'm told corporal punishment is no longer there. But anyway, let me read here what I've presented here and then we discuss. I've said discipline refers to rule following behavior, to regulation, order, control, and authority. It may also refer to punishment. Discipline is used to create habits, routines, and automatic mechanisms such as blind obedience. It may be inflicted on others or on oneself. Does this apply in our schools? This definition, this one I picked from Wikipedia. Can this be applied in our schools? And how relevant is it for guidance and counseling teachers? Particularly when we are talking about to create habits, routines, and automatic mechanisms Because in schools, unless there's a resemblance of that, we are going to have some anarchy. And schools, because of the nature of the formation, you get children from different backgrounds. If there are no strict rules and enforcement, then it's very easy to have anarchy. And that's why every time it's a continuous enforcement. And if possible, if we are able to change behavior, the better. I've also tried to describe or to define rather career counseling, which has a direct bearing on academic excellence. Career counseling is a type of advice giving and support provided by career counselors to their clients to help the clients manage their journey through life, learning, and work changes. Whenever we're talking about a career, we're talking about life after school and what people do there, for how long, and what type of work. Like most of us here are career teachers. We've worked. How long does one need to work to be a career teacher, by the way? 1 year is enough to be a career teacher? Is 1 year enough? 2 years? If you say this is a career teacher, I'm a career teacher. Huh? Huh? Trained and the doing of the qualification and your practice. Graduation might not matter. Okay. But some teach for a short time, they do other things. So a career teacher to me is somebody has said you have trained, you are qualified, and then you have some experience. Experience is gained by some practice over a certain duration. Kuna long, kama mimi ni long career teacher. Long, muda mrefu. Nimefundisha secondary, nimefundisha colleges, sasa niko hapa, kutoka hapa naenda wapi? Niko nitarudi nursery, I teach everywhere, all levels, so I'm a career teacher. So I'm also a career counselor because I do counseling. I've started doing counseling from secondary school to colleges and now here. So you see, something you do for long. Can we now influence our students about what they will do in their future? What are the ingredients for what they will do in the future? This will include academic performance. Sindio? In this country, hii nchi yetu ya Kenya, ndio maana mara nyingine tunaambiwa we are a paper country. Are we a paper country? Why? Because tunaambiwa lete makaratasi yako. Sometimes in total disregard of what you can do. That is why people with fake papers, and I'm not referring to any individual, can produce fake papers and get some lucrative jobs or positions in the name of the papers, and yet what they are doing is totally not related. For example, to require a governor to have a degree in anything. Surely, where were these guys? It was just to eliminate, Ama. It was not for qualification. That's why my dear friends can go about it and get away with it. They also are talking about imparting values and morals. What are morals and values? These are beliefs on what is right or wrong, despite prevailing circumstances, and which guides a person's behavior. Your values will guide how you behave under certain situations. Sometimes in total disregard of the prevailing situation, you can take a stand. Are Kenyans that good in having personal values in total disregard of the prevailing circumstances? For us teachers, let me take a good example which I'll mention later. Wakati wa mtihani huu wa national, I'm told in Kenya mambo ya kufoji mtihani ilisha, si ndio? Exam cheating ilisha. But we are told last year it resurrected. Our teachers involved in this resurrection. Why? Do teachers have any values at all? Before we blame the students, who gives the students the leak exam? teachers. So who are discipline is vital in the success of educational processes. A study by Wamugunda Magdalene et al. In 2019 concluded that secondary school students sampled have not fully embraced guidance and counseling services. Therefore, the practice of guidance and counseling as currently structured may fail as a discipline management strategy. This research was done in Kirinyaga by this learned friend, Omugunda Magdalene and others. And they are saying most students in our schools do not embrace guidance and counseling. Was she right? Is it true? Why? Why don't students embrace guidance and counseling in our schools? And therefore saying, if that be the case, then the practice of guidance and counseling as currently structured may fail as a discipline management strategy. The current way it is structured is not going to help us in as far as discipline is concerned. In your school, for example, why are they not embracing guidance and counseling? That's one person who is sure in her or his school, guidance and counseling is not embraced. But again, you don't know the reasons. Yes, madam.
One of the major reasons, these parents' institutions, when the learners are sharing, they normally share some confidential information.
Yes.
So their worry is the information that they're going to share
Will leak.
remain confidential, or it will be found somewhere else.
Okay. So the learners have no confidence in the teachers.
Yeah.
Because the teachers share information they have gathered in the counseling sessions with other staff. Nikweli ama ni uongo? Nikweli ama ni uongo? Have you ever shared just by accident? Kwa bahati mbaya, have you ever shared? Not share kwa bahati mbaya. Have you ever shared information that you got from a student? Ukashare kwa bahati mbaya. Because sometimes the staff is a gossip center.
Technology has taken over. That's why investing most of the guidance being given to them. They are mainly relying on technology.
Or they are googling this information. What is guidance and counseling? That's a very basic question. If they can access it online, so what are we doing? We should fill it out. It has been overtaken by them. It's outdated. What in your understanding is guidance and counseling? What in your understanding as a guidance and counseling teacher? Is it to pass information? If it is to pass information, you should resign because they can get information more than you can give. What is your role? The technical role of a guidance and counseling, particularly the counseling element. Yes.
Maybe you can say empathy.
Empathy. Give empathy. Yeah, she's talking about now the technical bit of therapy. Yes. Change of behavior. That's the end result. Okay. Yeah. After therapy, you expect some change to occur in the client, initiated by your interaction, though you are not the implementer. Counseling is not about giving instructions. It's about a client going through some therapy due to a unique relationship. That is why now the issue of confidentiality comes topmost. If you have no capacity to keep anything confidential, you are better off in another field, not in counseling. Because it's about how can people trust you with the information and how capable are you in keeping information. I always give this example. I was in a certain school here in the county, and a certain teacher went to a certain staff room she was given information about a student who was pregnant and aborted. If a student comes and tells you, kwa bahati mbaya nilipata mimba, basi mara nyingine inatokea bahati mbaya, nilipata mimba, kwa bahati mbaya zaidi.
Bahati mbaya zaidi.
Niliona last week sikuwa shule, nilikwenda kushughulikia hiyo maneno, lakini nimerudi. What are you supposed to do as a counseling agent? What are you supposed to do?
Support the child and make sure you
Yes,
keep that.
you're supposed to.
First of all, support the child by keeping that information
Amesema
confidential.
supporting the child and keeping the information
Confidential.
I'm here from the ladies. This was a lady who did this. What did you do, madam? Yes. Yeah, I know both of them can be the case. They might be feeling guilty or out of sheer guilt feeling, they want to share. Okay, that will be the objective we want. So after that, now, what do you do as a teacher? Here you are in the classroom and you are just from the shop. Mama Mary, has done X, Y, Z last week. Amekwambia hata hii ya mwisho kufanya Monday. Hiyo au alafu unakuja staff room. So what this teacher did? So there was a maths teacher at the corner. Maths teacher hakuongea. Amesikia Mary akaangalia 0.4%.
The maths teacher.
Maths teacher akanyamaza. The next lesson ilikuwa ya maths teacher. Akaingia. Wengine mnatoa mimba nini? Hata wewe umesikia kwamba wewe.
Ndio maana unapata 4-4.
The child after collapse. Akawa juu ya dawati akilia. Walked out of the class and went home. Yule mwalimu tu kuja kusema tu wewe mnatoa hasa wewe. Na unajua staff room huyu mwalimu hakuongea. Alikuwa amesikiza tu. Angalia Mary, akaangalia 0.4%. Kaenda na scripts darasani. Mary, John, 0.4 kampa, alafu baada akaanza kuwasomea. He could not resist the temptation to say ni wewe. Naenda unatoa mimba na unapata 0.4. The child could not. She was so shocked. She just could not react more than just crying and walking. So akasema hakuna mtu anajua history except Madam. Kwa hivyo hapa kwa hii shule hakuna guidance and counseling. Hao wote ni wambea na wasabasi. Mtu nimemweleza vizuri. She was very motherly. Kumbe ana pretend anachunguza. Anaenda kusema stuff. Hawa ni wambea na wasabasi na wadaku. Imagine describing the guidance and counseling teacher.
Yeah.
Why? Because one person was not confidential. So I think the students don't embrace these things because of the character of the teachers, amongst other weaknesses. There are many other weaknesses, but one of them is the weakness of the. But do we blame them? Was this teacher a qualified professional counselor? Mm-hmm. No. How do we pick our counselors? How are you picked yourself? How are you picked? By the principal. Sindio? Huwa anapishi namna gani? Anasema, madam, nasikia wewe umeokoka. Nasikia madam wewe umeokoka. Tusaidie na hii kazi. Kama mwalimu tusaidie. Vile na kuangalia huwa naona una maneno mengi. Kumbe kama yule mwalimu wa maths. Lakini akitoa moja anaandika. So the way teachers are picked for this job is wrong. That's wrong. I'm not blaming whoever the appointing authority is, but if you have the wrong personnel, you have the wrong result. That's what matters. There's nothing you can do. And the students, because they're supposed to be handled professionally, and you miss the professional element, they will not embrace the system because it doesn't meet the threshold. So that is why the guidance and counseling system is a problem. The recommendations based on the findings are that the Education Ministry and school boards of management should not only enforce government policies on disciplinary management, but also explore ways of winning students' confidence in guidance and counseling services. This way, guidance and counseling becomes an accessible tool for educational academic excellence. So the challenge is, apart from just enforcing policy, and shule zetu zote, hata universities zetu zote, kuna shida kubwa na siwalaumu kuenforce policies for its own sake. Sababu unaambiwa shuleni lazima na guidance and counseling teacher. So principal anasema hatutoki hapa mpaka tupate mmoja. Hii meeting, by the end of the meeting we should have a guidance and counseling teacher. So I'm going to discuss before I point out. Yeah, we're going to discuss. Suggest names. See for me to point out. So, unless we come out with better ways, and when we appoint them, sometimes there's nothing wrong in saying, Madam Mutakuwa hivi, Mr. XYZ, then let us empower them. For example, I would suggest, once you are picked, you should go for a course. Hata kama ni sometimes even 2 to 3 days on basic counseling skills, on like dealing with substance drug use, dealing with the adolescents, dealing with sexuality. You know, something that will boost your capacity, so that when you come back to work, then you can work in a better way. Okumbe and others argue that in this endeavor to achieve the vision and mission of a learning institution, all members of the institution ought to strictly observe behavior patterns necessary for maximum output. This is what we're talking about this morning. All participants, including now the guidance and counseling as the midwife, to deliver these results of academic excellence, we need to have all members of the institution. Let me ask you, nyinyi kama guidance and counseling teachers, how much support do you get from the other teachers? I remember I was a guidance and counseling teacher at Sasa school. Mwalimu akaingia darasani, sijui alifanywa nini na mwanafunzi akamkaba kwa hapa. Anamshauri mtu wako huyo. Stafu. Amemfikia kabisa naye. Nilipokuwa naona wanaingia nilishangaa, kwa nini mbona mkaba mwanafunzi? Alikuwa anasema mshauri mtu wako huyo. Where do you start? Even the child is now frustrated, confused. Amesukumwa kwa hapo na wewe equally confused. Utaanzia wapi? Ndio kumkaza hapo.
Wewe mwenyewe you need counseling.
So people don't know even how to refer. In this university, there are few students sometimes ni walevi ama wamepigana. Unapigiwa simu na secretary. Msaidia uko wapi? Kuna walevi wako wawili hapa. Wale si walevi wamefanya nini? Unafanya nini walevi? other stakeholders in schools do not know the role of the guidance and counseling.
Yeah. Oh.
Sometimes even the principal himself
Yeah.
hajui role ya guidance and counseling. Alifanya kwa sababu kuna policy inasema kuwe na guidance and counseling. Hata mimi hajui kazi ya huyo mwalimu. Hajui requirements. Sababu akikuappoint anataka kupeleke course. The board of management should have a budget for what we call capacity building or professional development, so that once you are appointed, you are capacity built, or you are given some professional development so that you are competent. Ukipewa kazi na hujapewa skills, ni kama kupatia dereva gari na hujamfundisha driving, hii gari ikigonga utamlaumu. So most of us teachers are drivers without driving license. We are likely to cause accidents, and most of the time we are actually causing accidents. So all participants in an institution should take part. Somebody else said that maintenance of high level of discipline by students is important when they are able to achieve high educational standards of successful education. Despite the crucial role of discipline in academic pursuits, there are concerns in many parts of the world in as far as secondary school students' discipline is concerned. Now, this failure of secondary school discipline, coming from even guidance and counseling, is not only in Kenya, it is all over. Many parts of the world are facing this. Somebody Lam and Blue argue that students in many secondary schools across the globe exhibit signs of struggling with problems associated with the growing up, as evidenced by the growing cases of suicide, violence, emotional hardships, behavioral problems, family problems and drugs, teenage issues revolving around self-esteem, interpersonal relationships, and sexuality challenges. This is what is metaja hapa. Simko nayo? So they are all over the world. Despite people having guidance and counseling departments in schools and even colleges. Nanyiri in 2014 assessed that unwanted behavior on the part of the students, which is on the increase, implied a scenario where guidance and counseling services offered in Kenyan secondary schools could not match the expectations of educational stakeholders. The educational stakeholders expect something, but the performance of guidance and counseling services is below par. For the reasons that we've just mentioned, that there's no proper preparation. Kenyans are so preoccupied with fulfilling policy instead of looking at the output. Even you, as guidance and counseling, how many of you have been in your schools as guidance and counseling for 3 years? Oh, quite a lot. Have you ever been audited? You've never been audited. Have you ever gone for any course? Some. Has anybody ever bothered to ask you what you need?
Never.
Wanajua tu kuna guidance and counseling. Hiyo sheria tushapita, natafuta games master. You know? And the principal, wale tuweza ameandika jina lako, Madam Mary, Mama Jombe. Hana shida, majina yako pale na everything. Ana unaitwa nini? Zamani walikuwa wanaitwa inspector, sio anaitwa quality assurance tunapitishwa, alafu anaenda anapewa chai, anakunywa na lunch mzuri. Anaenda zake. Do they even ask you to write a report at the end of the year? How many cases you have handled? What type of issues come up? Because you're supposed to be at the end of 3 months or 6 months, you write a report to the principal or to whoever you answer to, so that we can know how many. We don't put her names as we have been told, but you say you handle kesi 10 za drugs, kesi 2 za grief, kesi kadhaa emanating from divorce and whatever. And by the way, what the presenter has just said, most of the issues that come there is correlated na family. Na hii mambo ya hizi ya family dysfunction ime affect sana tabia za watoto. We are supposed to be noting them so that at the end of the year the principal can know that tabia ya hii shule inakuwa affected na drugs,
family dysfunction, so that when we have a parents' AGM, they can be talked to about the issues that are affecting their children. Because parents come to AGM and demand results and call teachers all manner of names. I went to a certain school and the principals called very bad names. In a meeting, ana discipline kashindwa mzazi. Sasa mtoto wake akitupa jiwe, tutamlaumu kweli? Kama a parent anasimama mbele yao anasema hii shule nyinyi ni wajinga, na hashaji watoto wanafanya hivi na hivi. You know? Even the language. Ule mtoto akitukana wenzake kwa class, that's the language they are using. You know? So, the issue of divorce, separation, and all this, it is affecting children's issues. I've handled a situation where a parent, they are separated. Na kila mmoja anadili na mtoto kivyake, hata anadili na sisi kivyake. Na mwite anamwambia mtoto ana shida, anaambia mamake. Alafu anapiga simu ya mamake haipatikani. Kumbe na huko nimeongea na mama anasema huyu jamaa hata nipigia. Namjua hata nipigia. Atakupatia story nyingine. Na kweli hata hapo na mzee anapiga. Unajua hii simu naona kama huyu mama ana simu mbovu. Na nikaongea na mama ananiambia huyu jamaa hatapiga. Huyu jamaa for the last 1 year hajaongeleshana. Huwa naongelesha mtoto ndiye ndio na mtoto na mimi, you know, like that. And here you are caught in the middle as a guidance and counseling. And even as we are talking, the person in that case, mpaka sahi, the parent came. I mean, both parents have come. Baba alikuja siku yake nyingine. The good God is blessed. If that is a blessing. Anakuja kuchukua mtoto anampeleka outing, wanakula, alafu anamrudisha. Mama anakuja, mama anapanda bodaboda hapa jasho. Anakuja naona the same child. What do you expect the child to think? Baba akija anakuja na treat, anampeleka out, chakula kizuri, alafu anamrudisha. Mama akija bodaboda. Akifika pale ku walk from the gate yeye ametoka jasho kweli, anatafuta mtoto wake. Mtoto si mdogo. Sina maswali yanajiuliza. What is happening with this fella? Na huyo anaponipeleka lunch anafikiria aje? Na alafu pesa ya mama kuja hapa ni shida, hata ya bodaboda ni shida. You know? Mtoto of course huwezi kuunganisha watu kama hataki kuishi pamoja. I was telling the young person kwamba achana na jamaa, panga maisha yako. Because hao jamaa wakikutana ulikuwa utajua alikutania wapi. So achana nao. Kama hiyo thing sasa watu. Sasa naomba kwa kitu baba. Wewe panga maisha yako. Hao jamaa sio zimeisha. But it's difficult, you know, for them to comprehend it. So you have to take this child through a process, step by step, not one day. But I will accept kwamba actually I have my life and these fellas have their own life. If you are not skilled enough and you are not patient enough, will you do that? Kama when no, by the way, there's what we call counter, inference in counseling. Wewe mtoto anaposema hiyo story, umejiona pale, wewe mimi ndio huyu baba. What will you do? Transparency and counter transparency. Wewe hizo unasikiza, hata unaacha kumsikiza, unaanza kujiona. So wewe mwenyewe unahitaji counseling. Ama wewe unajiona ni huyu mama unapanda bodaboda na jamaa anajienjoy mahali. You are human. You are supposed to have that feeling. So you are supposed to be helped.
Yeah.
Before you can help. In counseling we say you cannot give what you don't have. So counseling teachers need to be helped. They need to have what we call supervision. Counseling amongst themselves or counseling by a senior counselor so that they overcome the issues that they are going through every day. Sometimes you are a teacher and an issue is brought into your desk, mpaka baadaye unashindwa kumaki. It was trauma to you. Mtoto what the child has gone through, amekueleza mpaka umepick trauma wewe mwenyewe. You need to be helped. Like what I just had my friend reading here. A child whose mother was killed by the brother and the father. Kidogo nipate tu.
Mimi nimepata.
Umepata kabisa? Yes. How did it happen? How is this child handling it? You know, we are human, and therefore when we are counseling real issues. These children are not dramatizing. They are bringing to your table real issues. So unless you are equipped to handle, utajikuta na wewe unalia. Mtoto analia na wewe unaanza kuja nyota. Sasa mkianza kuja nyota, anaanza kusema pole. And in counseling, you're not supposed to cry with your client. You can tell the client to go ulie, alafu mwite. Yeah, unamaliza kulia alafu ngeni hebu. So it's not even easy for us. It's not easy. Because the moment we become counselors, hatuachi ubinadamu wetu. We still remain human. We are also in this world where these children are living. And in our situation, we are parents and teachers and citizens of this country. And Kenya is very, very good. Wanafunzi wengi tunawafundisha wanatoka same socio-economic class na sisi. Si wengi wanatoka above us. Ni walimu. Ukiangalia on a random percentage, 70% or above are in your social class or below. Wale wako above your social class ni wawili ama in your school. Kwa wale wa hiyo class nyingine walienda shule zao. So we are likely to be touched even by whatever is going on in our schools. Interestingly, it was confirmed by somebody called Simatwa that students disregard GNC as an option for improving positive behavior in schools. They don't think this guidance and counseling is meant to improve behavior. They don't think so. Now, is this the reality in our schools in this country? Whatever we have read there, is it different from other counties and regions in this country? When you look at the discipline in your school or in your region, and the discipline in other schools, in other regions, is it very different? And if so, what is the cause? But I must say one thing. There are unique trends that go according to region. Now you see discrimination. There are unique trends that go according to regions. Why? Because children pick the behavior of the community. Because they come from the community. They are not from heaven. That's the mama ubara mtoto lazima mtoto wako ametoka mbinguni. Ametoka kwako na wewe. Na nyinyi ndio mnaanza kumsocialize from day one. So as they reach a certain stage, they pick from the family and from the immediate society. So there are some trends that are unique and common in certain regions. For example, this, my friend called it negative culture. Some cultural trends that tend to negate the progress of children in schools have particular cultural regions, and I'm not being discriminative here. So. For example, what wazungu wamecall FGM. But hiyo ni mambo ya wazungu. FGM, hiyo jina lenyewe la kizungu. Sindio? FGM, what does it mean? Mutilation, unajua mutilation kufanya? To mutilate. Kukata ovyo.
Kuharibu.
Waafrika watu wanasema ni kuharibu kweli. Waafrika waliamini Kiingereza. So, depending on which cultural background, according to whichever cultural background, you see that some issues disturb children more than others. I've just picked that one of FGM. Which other ones do you know? Yes.
Is the one for child marriage especially.
Early child marriage. Mtoto amekuja shule lakini kule nyumbani na mzee mmoja jana alileta ng'ombe. Akaambiwa hii ng'ombe kwa sababu yako. Na amekuja hapa shuleni. You know? Which other one? Which cultural issues? Cattle raiding. Ile tunayosikia sasa hii kule Northern State. Mpaka jeshi walienda na silaha, sio wamerudi nazo. Walienda na ile za kurusha kwa mlima. Sio hata mmoja amerudi. Na juzi tunasikia watu waliuawa watatu kule. Hata mmoja wa wale bandits akawa hospitali akaja kushuhudia. Jeshi na ile na bunduki walikuwa. Yeah, so you can see, and that's
If there's another one,
Yes.
communities where kids go for initiation, they are kept out of school for a very
yes, initiation. Wanaita jondoni. Jondoni. I'm using jondoni because some of my clients wananiambia kulipa jondoni. Na wanakaa huko for some time hapa wanaishi shule. And sometimes it can be very bad because we have had cases of factual injuries. There's some last year. Somebody lost the organ. You know, sometimes kama anachoka. Alafu slashed the organ. You can imagine your son ulimpeleka jondoni. And I'm told you, there's some things that are getting pombe ya kienyeji anapanga kidogo ndio aanze kazi. Ananolewa wamepanga mstari. Sasa kaenda baya. Can you imagine? Circumcision as much as it's a good thing. But when circumcision see genital mutilation? Si pia hii ni genital mutilation? Kwa nini haisijui kelele? Because it's also circumcision. Circumcision of male, circumcision of female. So you can see our orientation and where we are coming from. Wanawake inakuwa ni criminal, but in Kenya it is a crime. Wanaume hata yule jamaa alikata nini ya nani ana shida. Alienda Scotland. I don't think he was in prison. Why? I limited that.
I think maybe it's because of religion.
Yes.
Yeah, because religion accepts men's circumcision and says that can I say for man to be accepted
Yes.
this man
Yes.
he needs to be circumcised. But it doesn't say the same about
Yes. Yeah, you're very right. That is Jewish culture, not even African culture. Whatever we find circumcision is the Jewish circumcision, not African circumcision. Not European wazungu hawatairi. Wazungu wengi mnaona akitembea. Some are bishops. And they've never circumcised. They've never known. It is not in their sight. Because these are Jewish culture. Yeah, trust me. I'm trying to provoke you to think this. Sometimes we think more. So, I'm not against any circumcision, but any practice should be looked at critically. To me, as an African, both circumcision are correct, and if they are to be condemned, both should be condemned. But I'm concerned about the artist, whoever does the work, because I think it is the artists who have spoiled the work. They are not doing it well. To an extent now, they have made it to be condemned. Naona sasa nimeletewa jeshi. Time yangu inaendelea kuisha. But I'll have to finish anyway. Let me move to career counseling. I think we have talked a lot about this one. About careers being what one does for a living of our own time. Careers need professional qualifications, skills and resources, financial, human and material, skills, knowledge and attitude. This one we are very familiar with as teachers. Skills, knowledge and attitude. What is the importance of that as teachers? when I was training as a teacher, I was told education is about changing people's skills, knowledge, and attitude. If the three don't go hand in hand, there's no learning there. That's true. Now, in counseling, in similar way, and more so in career counseling. Now, skills, knowledge, and attitude, which in one way or another, particularly in attitude, where values and morals imparted are formed, modified, and changed in schools, family, and society. Schools play a more central role during the 4-year period. During the 4-year period, in this formation and modification of behavior, schools take a lead, more than the family, more than the society. For example, why do parents choose boarding schools for their children more than day schools? You are parents. Si mnapeleka watoto boarding. Kwa nini mnapeleka watoto boarding? Hata wengine mnaanza kupeleka watoto boarding wakiwa primary. Kwa nini? What are some of the reasons we take our children to boarding? It's not because it's cheap, it's more expensive. Then utalipa tell more mingi sasa. Naona mkubwa mwingi so. Ongezea zake pia. Why do we take our children to boarding schools? Yes. What delegate? Parenting. Oh yes, we want to delegate parenting to the teacher. And do you think the teacher will do it better than you? Yes or no?
No.
No, just by show of hands. Usiangalie nyuma. Ngapi wanafikiria teachers will do it better than the parents? Let me say this, I'm a teacher. I cannot do your work as a parent.
That's true.
Mimi Biblia inasema ni yule mtu wa mshahara. Mimi ni mtu wa mshahara. Yesu alisema aje kuhusu mtu wa mshahara na yule mtu ambaye ng'ombe ni wake mwenyewe. Mtu wa mshahara mwizi akija anatoroka. Lakini yule ambaye mifugo ni wake hatatoroka, sio? Teachers, once you are paid at the end of the year, what business you have with this guy? Unless you are human. When the results come, I normally tell parents and children, when the results come at the end of Form 4, I did for many years. So, after Form 4, to go to discuss the results, natoa mimi score yetu mwalimu yako hii, natoa tochi, natoa sijui. I'm saying tochi because kuna wanafunzi wasema, tumeanguka hii siari ili ukose tochi. They have seen us being given torches all the time. So, after you have given your torch or umbrella, what business you have about thinking about that class?
Donation.
Tunafikiria wala kukomboza hii. Kama kutoka umbrella upewe. So, na huyo mtoto ambaye alianguka anaenda wapi? Anarudi kwa wazazi. Alipata E. Ile E inaandikwa kwa certificate yako. Mimi yangu haijawahi kuandikwa. Kuna wengi wamepata E. Na kuna wengi wamepata A. Lakini hakuna siku moja certificate zao zimewekwa jina langu. Nishapewa tochi yangu. Story inaishia hapo. So, parents should know. Teachers handle those children for a period and for a purpose. Parents have a continuous duty forever to own those children. So when those children come back, whether they failed or passed, they are owned by the parents. In that case, as a parent, you are a higher stakeholder than the teacher. So you should know, unapopeleka mtoto wako boarding, anaenda kufundishwa nini? Ama ni kitu gani kimepunguka kwako? Of course, we send them there because tuko too busy. We are looking for money, or as I mentioned, we have problems with our husbands and wives. So tunapigana sana, mtoto ataona tukivunjana. Next time watatuvunja hata sisi. By the way, if you are always fighting, the day this child gets strength, we'll beat both of you. Yes. Because psychologically he's violent.
Yeah.
Psychologically ameambiwa hii dunia solutions ni vita. I've seen it in many people. I've seen it in a child who also married, akapiga bibi, akiulizwa anasema this is how it is handled. Sababu aliona wazazi wakivunjana. Leta noma ni kumvunja. So some of the things. So unapeleka watoto mbali wasiendelee kuona. Yeah, human. We are trying to save them anyway. But sometimes those teachers have more problems than us. Mwalimu mwenyewe ameshindwa na mtoto wake, atahandle wako. Hata sasa hivi baba lazima tuko na shida zetu nyumbani. Unaacha zako mbele za jamaa. Hapa tu kwa sababu ya mshahara. So school time the age between 13 and 19 years, the youth form in terms of values, self-esteem and identity, value system, personal judgment and criticism of issues and situations. All these are gotten from society, family and school as the basic units of society, followed by the religious institutions and political setups. By the way, our religious institutions are very important. They form our children, our youth so much. And particularly between the age of 13 to 19. By the time they graduate, they have some formations inclined towards their religious affiliation, and sometimes they're influenced by what is going around in the political forum. And even you listen to some of the issues they bring when they have issues with the administration. They are inclined towards the national politics. Wakianza fujo zao, of course, they're inclined because they are being socialized on how we do things. For example, when they see corruption and all this, they actually approve it. Teacher councillors should provide forums for career discovery and development, since we have a congested academic curriculum which has no room for career teaching or advice from within. Zamani tulikuwa shuleni sisi tulikuwa na career teacher anakuja kuongea kuhusu career only. Siku hizi shida yetu ni sisi walimu wa siku hizi tunataka miniscope. Na sisi shida yetu ni system, si ndio? Wewe ni guidance and counseling teacher, tena uko na workload kama wale walimu wengine. Utaconcentrate kwa ipi? Na wanakuambia wewe you are sent by Teacher Service Commission. So Counselor Service Commission. So kazi yako ya kwanza ni kufanya teaching. You are basically a teacher. The ministry does not, the TSC does not send counselors. So hii inakuwa ni extra. When you are overwhelmed, it is likely to suffer. Since all behavior is motivated, guidance and counseling teachers should be agents of behavior change and career incubators. You should be incubators for the careers of these children. On moral and academic excellence, I have one question here. Is our quest for academic excellence breeding immoral values? Is it? Hii hamu yetu ya kuexcel academically, is it bringing or is it breeding immoral values or wrong values?
Yeah.
How?
Cheating in exams.
Yeah, cheating in exams, corruption.
Yeah.
So I think this over emphasis on paper qualification is leading us the wrong way as a society. And this is impacting in the lives of these children after school. So as guidance and counseling teachers, I don't know what you can do. Is there anything you can do? Given that the moral values that one develops from childhood through to teenage tend to remain and have an impact in our future behavior and actions in our careers. Now, when a child has a certain behavior which is formed in school, even after they finish school, what they learned or what was impacted in them during their school days always remains with them to a large extent. I normally meet some of my classmates today, people who finished school over 30 years, and there are some behaviors ambazo nilikuwa naziona siku mpaka leo ziko. Sindio? Have you met some of them? Ziko. Na unaona kwamba ni hizi tabia tuliform tukia tangu form 1 mpaka form 4 ni zile zile. And some of them are fixated. Hata story ni zile zile. They got graduated. Unaona? What does that mean? It means the time in from 1 to form 4 or secondary school life has a big impact. Of course, it transits to college and all that. But sometimes college does not succeed to change this behavior. Why? Because college is a bit more freelance. While secondary school is a bit more uniform. In secondary school, watu wote wanafanya mambo fulani. So it is easy to bond and influence each other more closely as a group. While in college here, you get a small caucuses. You don't get one big caucus because so secondary schools and even some primary schools systems tends to have a lasting impression in our lives. So here are my contacts. My telephone contacts are 0722 684733, 0722 684733, or 0733 883898. My email address is laurianmseri.m@gmail or laurianmseri@ttu.ac.ke. Now, I'm trying to form my consultancy for training and other counseling services, and I've just been mounting a website, www.timamu.tacc.co.ke. I've not put enough information there, but very soon it will have all the information about my consultancy, and I'm counting on your support, you guys, to join my consultancy to do diploma in counseling psychology, or second, or recommend your friends, relatives, your children, your brothers and sisters, come and do this. Not because I'm interested in money, of course I am, but I also want to be the agent of counseling. I want to be the agent of counseling, so that I can have these skills in many people. Very soon, this country will need more counseling than other measures of dealing with society. Because kwa watoto tunatumia kiboko, kwa family tutatumia nini? Watoto tunawachapa wa reform. Hawa kina baba na kina mama wao pamba kando ndio all of the day. Na hawa watu wanaiba, corruption na all this. Police na nini. Dawa yao nini? Si kiboko. Ndio? We need to have the proper morals. We need to have the proper way of dealing with them. There's a lot of frustration. By the way, Kenyans are a very frustrated lot. Kama wamini angalia maandamano ya juzi ya Azimio. Si ati watu walikuwa naunga mkono wa Azimio. They are frustrated, so kama napata jiwe nirushe tu. Because at least leo ndio kuna uhuru kurusha jiwe. People are so frustrated. There's a lot of pain in Kenya. Wengine hata si ati wanarusha tu wanapenda Azimio ama Kenya Kwanza, hata hawako hapo. They are all frustrated with their families, so anybody along the way they clear. There's a lot of pain. It can only be sorted by us having psychosocial support system. Mental health issues are increasing by the day. Hata wengine tunawaita wendo wazimu, si wendo wazimu, the things that were not handled in good time zimesnap. Wewe unaona hapa wanatembea ovyo ovyo, si ati wendo wazimu bila zaliwa hivi kama alirogwa. And then there's the whole issue of kurogwa sasa. Mambo yamekushinda unasema umerogwa. Because ukilaumu shetani hata kujitetea. Unasema ni kuna pepo ameingia hapa. Pepo anaweza kukwambia sio mimi. Nani atakupeleka kotini, pepo atoe ushahidi. So it has become a very good escape. Sometimes tumeshindwa na mambo yetu and then we go into blind spiritualism. I'm a very spiritual person. No name. But I don't like carrying things that I can handle into the spiritual world just to escape reality. Thank you very much for listening to me now.